Donald Trump finally got his way, not just for branding the American media the enemy of the people, but by reaching across borders to bring down one of the major players in world news gathering. Over the weekend, we heard news of the resignations of Tim Davie, the Director General of the British Broadcasting Corporation, and Deborah Turness, the head of BBC News. Now, these were not routine departures. They represent the culmination of an intense period of political and public scrutiny, all sparked by accusations of serious and systemic bias within an institution revered worldwide for its commitment to impartial news. At the heart of this controversy lies the contentious video editing of a speech by Donald Trump.
All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing, and stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done and what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore, and that's what this is all about.
For an organisation like the BBC, where I started my career, a pillar of global journalism, such a leadership vacuum is unprecedented. It signals a corporation struggling and ultimately failing to navigate the deeply polarised political and social landscape of the modern era. The BBC's reputation, its very bedrock of public trust, is now under profound threat. The immediate catalyst for this leadership crisis was the leak of an extensive internal report to a national newspaper. This private dossier, compiled by former Times political editor Michael Prescott, catalogued a litany of alleged editorial failings. While the report cited issues including alleged anti-Israel bias in BBC's Arabic coverage and concerns about the handling of trans issues, it was the manipulation of a presidential address that ignited the most explosive backlash. The controversy centred on a documentary by the BBC's flagship investigative programme Panorama, which featured edited clips of the call to arms speech delivered by Donald Trump on January 6, 2021, just prior to the Capitol riot. The BBC was accused of splicing together two separate sections of the hour-long address, words spoken nearly an hour apart, to make it appear as though Trump explicitly urged his supporters to march and fight like hell at the Capitol. While Trump did instruct the crowd, "We're going to walk down to the Capitol," the incendiary line, "If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore," was delivered much later. Crucially, the edited version also omitted Trump's explicit call for the crowd to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Yet to focus only on a 5-second edit is to miss the profound, chilling context of what was unfolding in America. This editorial decision, however poor, took place against the backdrop of a systematically planned coup to steal the 2020 election. This was a scheme that included the deployment of fake electors, the switching of envelopes, the reliance on Vice President Mike Pence to illegally halt certification of the results. This all occurred while the speech was in motion.
You know, I say sometimes jokingly, but there's no joke about it. I've been in 2 elections. I won them both, and the second one I won much bigger than the first, okay?
Furthermore, the full scope of that day also involves the placement and the presence of far-right extremist groups, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. These groups, energized by Trump's rhetoric and his December 19th tweet calling for a wild protest, played a central and coordinated role in the January 6th attack. Their actions, from the Oath Keepers organizing into a military-style stack formation to the Proud Boys establishing a Ministry of Self-Defense, were not spontaneous. They were part of a planned effort to overturn democracy, culminating in the tragedy that killed 7 people and injured dozens of police officers. The magnitude of Trump's actions is further underscored by the pardons he granted in January this year to almost 1,500 rioters and their architects, including his former lawyer Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, and former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. These pardons, though symbolic in terms of state-level charges, are a clear act of clemency for those involved in the plot to install fake electors and steal the election. This context, the coup, the agitators, the timely impeachment, the thorough bipartisan January 6 report cannot be ignored when judging the actions of a news organization attempting to distill the essence of this historical crisis. The fallout of the BBC's resignations was swift and aggressive. The White House, via Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, publicly denounced the broadcaster as a propaganda machine and 100% fake news. For Trump's allies, this video became a weapon, proof of partisan manipulation. Yet we must remember that news documentary teams operate under immense time pressure. Editing a speech for Time, focusing on the highlights, is normal editorial practice. The words were spoken by Trump. There was no Franken quote. However, the broader truth is that this controversy is not solely about an internal report or a video edit. It's the visible peak of a years-long politically driven campaign to discredit and eventually sue broadcasters on technicalities, a campaign that sees institutions like the BBC as obstacles to be dismantled. This is the deliberate, organized rise of a political movement intending to demolish impartial institutions. Concerns have been raised that the very internal report used to spur these resignations was commissioned under conditions that suggest its contents were weaponized to destabilize the organization and shift its reporting to the far right. The speed with which the two of the BBC's most senior executives folded to this pressure is deeply troubling. In their resignation statements, both Davie and Turness acknowledged the pressure. Turness, the CEO of BBC News, framed her exit as an act of accountability, writing that the ongoing controversy was causing damage to the BBC, yet she adamantly pushed back on the core accusations of institutional bias, asserting that they were wrong. For the BBC, an organisation widely respected overseas but increasingly questioned back at home, this is an existential challenge. It must now defend its integrity and demonstrate its unwavering commitment to the impartiality upon which its global reputation and its domestic funding via the licence fee depends. The sad reality is that to maintain the appearance of impartiality in an era of asymmetrical political warfare, institutions like the BBC may feel forced to occasionally capitulate to political actors who are actively attempting to demolish them. This moment may mark the beginning of the end for the ideal of fact-based, unbiased journalism as we once knew it. The integrity of our most vital institutions hangs in the balance, and we must pay attention not just to the headlines, but to the deeper, more dangerous forces at work. And today, Trump's entrapment of the BBC comes full circle, as he has threatened to sue them for $1 billion if the news organisation does not make amends by Friday. Welcome to fascism. Welcome to Trump's plan for world domination. Nothing will hold him back. Not rules, not protocol, not goodwill. This is pure extortion over an issue that lacks substance. But the BBC, by taking responsibility for their so-called error of judgment, encourages the snake to tighten its grip on its prey. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.